Hi, we're Team 37 and we're going to reflect and answer the following questions from the blog 1. The first question is, why can't pet food makers like Purina eliminate this worker abuse?
I think, well, at least we understand that it's not under their control because there are like big suppliers that give the supply to them, to the companies that make the food for the pets. So at the end, like they don't have a direct relationship with the workers that go and that are mistreated because of the industry. So at the end, it's not really their fault because they don't have a contact with them, a direct contact with them.
And not also that it's not their fault, but that is not under their control, because as it's obvious, it's a thing that's under the supply chain and how it's structured, and they are the suppliers of food makers, and food makers, the only thing they do is buy the raw material in this case, in order to produce the food. So if these suppliers are the ones that are abusing the workers, the Purina still doesn't, they can have a lot of control on how they work.
Because they can't lose competitivity against other pet food makers when not buying this seafood from those organizations.
And another factor is that governments continue protecting, and they don't make any difference to protect the work abuse. So in Thailand, the government don't get involved in these problems.
I think that for changing this, they could make a vertical integration and start producing their own food and having their own places where they can make the fish or seafood in this case grow. But this would cost them a lot, not only because of the plant of production, but also because of the workers they should a contract in order for them to get the food, the raw material.
And another thing, we do understand as well that they have different factors of why they continue buying from those suppliers. For example, costs. The article said that they are one of the cheapest on producing and getting fish. So there are various factors that affect this decision. We do believe as well that Purina or food makers should have a moral point of view and start, for example, having a vertical integration or something to try and avoid or do something about the workers' treatment. And I believe that's
well. The second question is, describe the pet seafood supply chain. And as a theme. First of all, we moved the place of manufacture in Thailand.
Well, after the company, the supplier, the Thai company, then goes the movement or transportation of the seafood to where Purina has its manufacturing.
Another
location.
important factor to consider in the supply chain is the technological innovation, which we believe is not that great, because instead of innovating a lot on how to catch fish and keep costs low or meet the demand, they are choosing forced labor, and so that's not really technological innovation.
Also, it's important to mention the manufacture, the industries in Thailand, where costs are cheaper than in the United States.
I think that the most critical part of the supply chain of this industry is the inbound logistics that are the worst, because it's the place where the workers are mistreated and they have no control of it. If they would own their inbound logistics, or they would find a way to change the main ingredient to another one that has a better treat in the past, I think at the end it would have a value aggregated much larger than the one that is offered right now.
After transportation of the raw material, it comes the manufacturing of the actual food or cat food, and then the retailer, in this case Purina, would take the seafood or the actual cat food, to the grocery stores.
And outbound logistics are a really important part as well, considering that pet food is a growing industry, and it's actually growing in an accelerated pace. And if we quote the article, it will be meeting an insatiable demand. So outbound logistics are a really important part of considering this balanced supply chain.
So as conclusion, we think that it's important for these type of companies to keep the competitivity, even if it's not that moral to keep buying food from Thailand. They can't afford to
Change.
Like able to
Go bankrupt.
to go bankrupt, these companies, because of not being competitive enough and increasing the cost by buying such companies in Thailand and doing a vertical integration. It's something that needs
Takes
time.
a huge investment as well.
And also, it's important to mention that those companies that are the suppliers, most of the times are like a monopoly, because there are not a lot of suppliers in Thailand of seafood.
Thank you.
Thank you.